Alrighty, first ABT Lockdown live show. This segment is called Off the Water Champions. And of course, in our ABT community, we have people that do absolutely everything. There's the old saying, you can be fishing on a dock and you cannot judge what a person does by what they wear and if they like fishing. And this man here, we met him a long time ago. Actually, I met him in the kayak tournaments a long time ago, and he is a dead set champion, both on and off the water. And there's a few things we're going to talk about. His name's Neil Carstairs. You can see him in this other in the other window here. And Neil works for his mortgage broking company called Mortgage Corp. And if you're a fisherman, especially in the kayaks, Mortgage Corp has been a sponsor of kayak fishing forever, but more recently in the boating. Neil is the one who in the very early days saw what we were doing with our live stuff, and he rang me up and he said, "Morgo, I've got to help you with that live. That live stuff is awesome." And he was prophetic, because who would have envisaged one day when there's no sport left and we can still watch fishing, you know? Well, we're not watching actual fishing now, but we are watching a live fishing show. Neil Carstairs, welcome to ABT Lockdown Live, mate. And it's a weird situation we're all in, mate, but you are a man who's going to be full of information that our guys are going to want to need to know.
Yeah, well, and that's a changing thing every day at the moment, government and, banking and home loans and stuff. But you're right. It's very interesting times, considering, when we first started fishing and kayaks and had boating tournaments. I've been watching you for years, and it's been an awesome thing to do. But when you started the live feed thing, it was like I watched you on my big screen and I was casting you, and I was like, this is what we want. I'm making pancakes with my 5-year-old daughter, and I want to watch fishing and I want to see what everyone's doing. I was FOMO'd. Yeah, it was it. So.
It's awesome, mate. And isn't it ironic, because we're sitting here now because, we've acquired a virus that started in China. You've done your fair share of damage in China, haven't you? You were one of those early raiding parties that literally had to smuggle US dollars out of China because you won so much. Tell us a story about that.
Yeah, so back in 2013, it was an awesome time. So what happened in 2013, Steve Fields, Max One, and a few of the guys all got together. They created this. There was a fishing tournament in China, the Chinese International Fishing Tournament, and they invited a bunch of guys to go over. It was invite only. A couple of the Chinese people been over, and they handpicked a few guys. I was lucky, one of the early guys in the Hobie fishing tournaments, along with a few of the team that went over. And it was insane. It was it was insane. It was like we got there. It was massive. We're talking crowds of 30,000, 40,000 people. Fishing for fish we'd never heard of. We had drone cameras hanging over the top of us on the water, and we literally took their cash and ran.
Like, literally, you guys won. How much money was there on offer, and how much did you have to smuggle home?
Well, just to give you an idea, first place, Richard Summerton. We all know the name in the kayak side of things. Second place, myself. Between the two of us, we had $32,000 US. So that was the
cash.
In cash. Now, here's the thing. We had the fake check, and I've got it up over here, actually, but we got the fake check. And I'm like, this is awesome. And I'm thinking, how are they going to give us the money? And then I see a guy standing on the side of this massive stage with a machine gun and a suitcase. And we walk up, and literally we're signing off, and they're handing us a wad of $100 US notes wrapped in a red ribbon with a glass trophy. With a glass trophy. So, the trip was epic. The alcohol was insane. By the second night, the Chinese were saying g'day, we were saying ni hao, and it was on like young and old. And it was great. Made some really good friends, both in China, and cemented a lot of good relationships with the Aussie guys. And it's led to bigger and better things now, where I went again to one of the worlds for Hobie, where I qualified at a Redcliffe tournament in Queensland, came second, and ended up going to Changshu Lake and came equal sixth, actually, which was really good, along with 45 other people that came equal sixth. So
that's right. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
The
exact numbers, not sure, but pretty much everyone came equal sixth. Yeah, everyone came equal sixth. Yeah, so it was good. But the experience itself, the likes of the people, the early starters in this Hobie fishing, Steve Fields, Jim Barry's, all those guys, and the tournament guys that put it together for the Hobie side. It was awesome, and I got a lot out of it. I got a lot of friendship out of it. And being a mortgage broker, I always had guys pulling me aside saying, Neil, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And to be quite honest, a lot of people didn't actually know what I did when I first started, because I never liked mixing work with leisure. Yeah. But over time, I realised I had a wealth of knowledge and I wanted to help people. So, yeah, and then we had an opportunity as a business to help out with some sponsorship arrangements and, put back what we gave. And, yeah, that's where we are now.
Yeah, that's right. Every time you watch a live feed from a weigh-in at ABT, it's got powered by Mortgage Corp in the bottom corner. That's because this man here is the man who helps us all to all do that. Now, I've qualified him as a top bloke and a fisherman. So when you're out there looking for advice nowadays, and we are in a difficult time at the moment, I always want to pick up the phone and talk to someone who I can trust. And I've got a rule in business, basically don't trust anyone who's not a fisherman. So if you're out there and you want some advice on things that are happening now, but even more generally, things involving mortgage, home loans, refinancing, this man here, Neil, is the man to talk to, and he is very happy to talk to you one-on-one on his phone. And all of his, give him a call. The advice is free, mate. It's like it doesn't cost you anything to have someone who knows your situation to do it. So, Neil, things are changing so fast at the moment. I'm sure you've been getting plenty of calls at the moment, and I want to know what sort of questions people have been asking you in this time, and it must be a minefield for people out there at the moment.
Unfortunately, it's actually heartbreaking, to be honest. Where are we? 4 or 5 calls a day from existing clients where, unfortunately they've either been stood down. 1.1 million people have pretty much lost their jobs within a week. In all types of industries, beauty, Qantas, we all see it on the news. I'm not even going to go over it. But what a lot of my clients, over 15 years of doing this, what a lot of my clients are seeking is just direction. What do we do now? When do we do it? The mortgage is one of the biggest debts in our life. And, at the end of the day, getting the right advice, this is the time when you need to get the right advice.
So, Neil, I suppose, as a homeowner myself, and, I've been through the whole mortgage thing as well. My business is doing it tough like everyone else's. Tell me some more of the specific questions that people are asking, because if they're asking you, I'm pretty sure I'd be interested in the answers as well, and so will a lot of people that are out here listening. Give us an example of some more of these questions that people are asking.
So, obviously, with all the media going on with the government telling the banks to be able to freeze mortgage repayments, it doesn't mean those mortgage payments are going to disappear, all right? Basically, what they're doing is they're doing what's called deferral of repayment. So they're adding it on. Okay, it's something you're going to have to pay back later, and that's a really important thing. I've been telling the clients that I've been working with that you only want to defer if you have to, because you're only going to get 6 months. We don't know what's going to happen at the end of 6 months. If you've still got a job and you still can make money, or even if you're a third pay, there's all these government policies that have come into play that will help you cover off. Leave it as the last resort, because what's going to happen is that you're going to get 3-4 months into this 6-month deferral, and then realise that in a month or two you're going to start having to pay more.
Yeah. And look, I suppose this is a good time to bring up the fact that all of this advice that you're giving us here, I suppose it's of a general nature. Like if you really want to know specific stuff, you got to talk to Neil himself, and he wants to talk to you. Like Neil loves this stuff as much as I love fishing. Like Neil gets off on it, and he is 100% confidential, and he will assess your situation like that and be able to give you some very well-tailored, specific personal advice for you. So I suppose other questions that you get asked. I think that
you get what you get, and that's it. These are the facts.
And look, you're not going to sugarcoat it either. Like I've talked to you once or twice before, and you don't sugarcoat it at all. It's like, just, this is it, man. This is your choice, this or that, and away you go. Like I think generally, before the crisis happened, I think, questions you would get would be like, can you get me better, interest rates on my mortgage, and is it a good time now to refinance? And give us a little bit of a situation now, because as far as I know, interest rates are about as low as they've ever been. Yeah, they are. They are very low, and what we've seen here is very, very, very unique in the fact that we haven't seen a lot of dropping in the variable rates, a lot of fixed rate offers. So the banks have seen the opportunity to do the fixed rates, low twos. All right.
obviously, if I give you an interest rate, I'm going to give you a comparison rate, and everybody's situation is unique. It's like fishing. You've got to get the right lure for the right spot. It might be, good for one spot, but not so much for another. And that's the same with a home loan. If you've got an investment property, you want redraw, offset, all the bells and whistles that come with it, or do you want something basic? Are you looking at fixed repayments or, opportunity to pay extra? Because if you do take a fixed rate, which are really good right now, and they do suit the right type of client, are you able to pay extra, and are there any penalties in that? So, there's a lot of factors that come into play. Getting the best rate depends on your unique circumstances. What might be a good rate for an owner-occupied property, they might not be able to offer you on your investment property. So you need to get really good advice on the breakdown of each individual requirement.
Yep. And speaking of investments, obviously it's a tumultuous time in the market. Is now a good time to look at an investment property if property prices go down? It might seem counterintuitive, but there are some people here that might be in a situation where they want to jump out now.
That's a really good question, because I want to throw it back at you. If the value of your neighbour's house has gone down because they want to sell it because everybody else in the street is selling it, what's that make your value of your house? Yeah. So the things that we've got to look at is that if there's going to be a diminishing value factor going across the market, and some are saying 20%, some are saying 10, 15. But think about this, that if everybody paused their repayments for 6 months, then 3 to 4 months into this deferral, people start to realise, I'm not getting my job back. I'm not going to be earning the same income I did before. I need to sell my house. How many people are going to have their properties on the market? Yeah. Then what's going to happen is you're going to have the investors like myself and some of my other clients who we've been preparing for whatever reason to go forward into this year as an investor, who are going to be looking for a bargain. So is it a good time to buy now? I don't think so. I think now's a good time to start looking, get prepared, having your documents ready, getting the proper pre-approvals in place. But more importantly now, it's about getting buffers. What if your tenants aren't going to pay rent? You know what I mean? You might go buy a really good investment property and you'll get it 15% under what it was now in 3 to 4 months' time, but are you going to get the tenants that are going to pay the rent? So there's a lot of factors that we're going to weigh up, and the policies are changing from the banks on a daily basis.
Yep. I suppose in the same sort of vein, a lot of people, and especially ABT guys, I know, are builders and they do speculative projects. And, likewise, is it a good time to do that now, or should you be putting that all on the back burner until things level out?
I think there's a lot of things we need to find out first, and we are seeing a breakdown in supply chain. So I've been speaking to a lot of the bigger builders where I've got clients who are working as site supervisors and that with some of the bigger builders, and even as recently as today, conversations were no more internal working, so they can't go internal anymore. They're all external. Yeah. They're seeing breakdowns in supply chain where some of your big plumbing, electrical suppliers aren't getting stock in from China. So, there was a lot of hoarding going on in the last few weeks from a lot of bigger companies. So a bit like toilet paper, buying all the electrical.
The hoarding toilets.
I don't know. I went to Woolies today and I bought toilet paper. There was more toilet paper than there was when the hoarding started. So it seemed all right to me. But, so as a builder, things like that we're starting to see, it's not whether you can build the property or build the product. Councils are in shutdown. Can you get subdivision? Can you get permits? Architects, engineers, site surveyors, valuers are not attending properties. So if I want to get a client's house valued, there's a lot of work going into what HR is massive.
Yeah. No, look, and these are all of the things that we can sit here and we can watch the news and we can look at our Facebook feed and we can make uneducated decisions about what's going on. But guys like Neil, they've asked all these difficult questions and they've had clients that have done it, and the benefit of his experience is going to maybe help you make the decision. Now, it doesn't have to be as difficult as should I build a property, should I invest? It may be just about your house and your ability to keep it, because maybe a majority of the people watching here are in that situation where they sit down at night and apart from worrying whether they can go fishing or not, they're worrying about, am I going to have my house in a year's time? And again, you're the man to talk to, aren't you?
Yeah, I definitely can give you general advice, and I can definitely talk to you about your current situation, and we can dig a bit deeper as well on if you want to book it. You can actually use one of our links which I think you'll put up with this video, which will actually, if you click on the link, it'll take you to my calendar, and you can book a call with me any day, any time, and it'll show up, and I will call you, and we will be happy to chat. And some of the things that we're talking about now are, especially if you've got car loans, commercial loans, like a lot of our builder clients and tradies have got scissor lifts, they've got, compressors, they've got bigger, heavy equipment. You can actually put those payments on pause, but you need to know that they're going to come back, all right? And that interest is going to be added. So it might help you now. And a really good example, Steve, if you don't mind, I had one of my really good investor clients. He's got 13 properties. He rang me today and said, Neil, I'm going to ring up the banks that you set me up with, and I'm going to pause on my repayments. And I said, well, hang on a second. Has anyone stopped paying rent yet? And he's like, no, not at all. And I said, well, have you lost your job? And he's like, no. And I said, so why would you want to pause your repayments now? So these are the things I really want you to not take any knee-jerk reaction. But if you've lost your job, or if you've been stood down and you don't know what's going on and you haven't got enough in the bank, then definitely ring your bank. I know with the NAB and a couple of the other banks, it takes 15, 20 minutes. Just go to their website.
Yep. No, great advice and great general advice, of course. We'll have this down the bottom, both in the post and at the bottom of the video. We've got links to your site at Mortgage Corp, mate. I really appreciate you're putting yourself out there, because you guys have my word that this fella knows his stuff, and he's going to be able to give you that great advice. And, mate, I love just chewing the fat about you guys stealing all that money out of China. It seems strangely apt now that you guys, over the years, have literally stole over $100,000 US. Well, not stole, won, but then literally had to smuggle it back into Australia in cash by divvying it up amongst you, mate. Great stories to talk about, Neil. If you get to have a beer with him at an event, we see him at events occasionally. He might have a bit of a comeback after all this is done. Who knows? But Neil from Mortgage Corp, thank you very much for coming on tonight, mate. And remember that he is one of the true off the water champions.